northbound coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Today on Good Morning Maine, protests erupt around the state, both for and against the changes coming from the White House.
Plus, it's still unclear how new federal funding cuts will impact Maine's marine industry.
And hundreds turned out for a special pop-up market in Herman. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Emma Smith.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us on this Monday morning. We'll have those stories and more coming up, including a look back at last night's Oscars and who were the big winners last night. But at first, to check that forecast, a real chilly start to the work week today. Temperatures were down around 0 this morning in many places.
Yep. And
it's only going to get up into the 20s today. Good news is it looks like we'll get up into maybe even the upper 40s later this week. So Spring's on the way. Hang in there.
I know. It is March after all.
Yeah.
Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and at our newest location, 485 Main Street in Orono. We have the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where Maine's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. Here we go this morning. Some areas have seen cold temperatures. It's fallen below 0 pretty decently further off towards the north, but across our area, still above 0 at the moment. Most low temperatures have fallen into the single digits. But so far this morning, we have some advisories up. Freezing spray advisories will drop at around 10 a.m. this morning. Also, some cold weather advisories kind of stating the obvious. It's been rather cold in the northern parts of the state this morning, and those will be expiring throughout the morning period. Meanwhile, rather quiet outside, maybe a few passing clouds, and that's about it, which is the reason why temperatures have fallen this morning. And for now, the eastern coast is rather quiet, but we will be watching for more active weather that will be moving in later on this week. But for today, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky. We'll have increasing clouds later on tonight and especially into your Tuesday as we watch for our next system that will be moving in. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon periods showing a partly cloudy sky with temperatures warming into the 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma?
Thank you, Devin. We'll see you later on. Well, first this morning, game officials continue to investigate a deadly snowmobile crash in Piscataquis County. They announced over the weekend that a 53-year-old woman from Massachusetts was killed Friday following a crash north of Cocodjo. Officials say Stephanie Capello was heading toward Millinocket with a group of snowmobiles when she came across a left turn in the trail. She was unable to make it around the corner and went off the trail where she struck a tree. Rescuers traveled to the scene, but Capello could not be saved. Officials say it appears that operator inexperience was the cause of that crash, which remains under investigation this morning.
The Bangor Police Department says they're investigating an early morning car crash. A photo posted to Facebook shows caution tape surrounding the scene of a heavily damaged car lying on its roof in a gas station parking lot. Bangor Police confirmed with us that a crash did occur near a Circle K on Hogan Road at around 4 o'clock yesterday morning. It is unclear at this time what events led up to the crash and if there were any injuries. Authorities are expected to release more information today.
A fire in Dexter caused damage to a home early Saturday morning. According to the Dexter Fire Department, crews responded around 5:34 a.m. to a building fire at 46 Mill Street. A fire had broke out on the second floor in a bathroom in the home, and firefighters quickly responded to the blaze. Fire Chief Matt Connor says there were smoke detectors present in the home, and he believes it could have been much worse, could have been much more destruction if those detectors were not there. The rest of the house was not damaged, and the cause of that fire is also under investigation this morning.
Hundreds gathered in Augusta on Saturday to protest against transgender girls playing on girls' sports teams. Our Kelly Warren has more.
The underlying focus of it is girls' sports and keeping biological boys out of girls' sports.
Hundreds made their voices heard on Saturday, protesting against transgender girls playing on girls' and women's sports teams. The rally was partially organized by Representative Katrina Smith.
I'm really proud. I mean, it takes a lot for people to come out, so I think the numbers in this crowd show that it's very important.
who says she doesn't want to exclude anyone, but is creating a space for all to have their voices heard.
I just think this is a group of love. It's a group for our girls, not against anyone. We believe that girls have not been listened to in their cries and their concerns for having boys in their sports, so we're here to defend them.
Protesters say they're concerned about equality and fairness on sports teams.
Freedom of sports, I think if transgender people and all that want, to play in their sports and respective sports, I believe that they should have their own league, because that makes it fair to them and fair to women and fair to men.
We're starting to infringe upon women's rights as well. There's a reason that we have women's sports in the first place, to be able to make a fair playing ground.
Some held signs in protest against Governor Janet Mills's remarks towards President Donald Trump and stood in support of Representative Laurel Libby, who was recently censured for sharing a social media post featuring an underage transgender student athlete. Counter-protesters attended the event to express their perspective on the matter.
Trans kids matter. People matter. I didn't understand what transgender meant, what non-binary meant, but I have compassion and empathy. And if that means something to somebody, I'm going to try to... Don't touch me! Don't touch me! Stop touching me!
The protesters marched throughout Maine's capital.
Yes, this is a serious issue. Everybody has an opinion. Let's all be civil and let's do the right thing.
In Augusta, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Well, meanwhile, there were also a number of counter-protests held all around the state over the weekend. In Ellsworth, hundreds of people gathered Saturday to protest against some of the changes made by the Trump administration. In Ellsworth, people were speaking out against what they're calling an oligarchy, calling on members of Congress to resist the sweeping changes to downsize the nation's government. They were also voicing support for Ukraine. A group also gathered on the Village Green in Bar Harbor to protest the firing of employees at our national parks. It was one of hundreds of protests held at national parks all around the country. They were there to support the fired workers and to also express concerns about the impact it could have on Acadia National Park and other national treasures.
The University of Maine was notified on Friday by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration that all federal funding for the Maine Sea Grant program would be terminated effective immediately. The funding pull is part of larger cuts coming to NOAA. Our Grace Blanchard shares more about the impact this could have on Maine's marine industry.
For more than 50 years, Maine Sea Grant, overseen by the University of Maine, has strengthened the state's coastal communities, generating more than $20 million annually for the state's fishery economy. However, the university recently learned its more than $4.5 million federal funding agreement with NOAA was abruptly coming to an end.
It was obviously a shock to many of us.
According to a spokesperson for the University of Maine system, the money directly supports statewide research and salaries for 20 university employees on the Orono campus and in Maine coastal communities.
Sea Grant is essential for translating basic research out into the field and allowing us as farmers to learn from that research to improve our farming methods and to innovate and become more competitive.
Many employees and industry partners learned about this decision at the Maine Fishermen's Forum this weekend, which was founded by Maine Sea Grant.
From our perspective, this is a very short-sighted decision. It's actually going to put private farmers and fishermen in a position where they're not having access to the latest science, and so it will impact our businesses. It will probably cost us money.
Reasons for the halt in funding. According to NOAA's letter to the university, its program activities were, quote, no longer relevant to the focus of the administration's priorities and program objectives. Democratic Congresswoman Shelley Pingree has shared her thoughts on the decision, describing the actions as short-sighted and heartless. She said in part, quote, this is not only insulting, but demonstrates an alarming lack of understanding of the essential role grants and scientific studies play in sustaining our fisheries and coastal economies. We reached out to NOAA officials for further comment, but have yet to receive a response. The University of Maine system says they will not be commenting further until they can fully assess what this means for the Maine Sea Grant employees, university students, and their research efforts. In studio, I'm Grace Blanchard for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
All right, the time now is 8:09. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, details on a GoFundMe for a life cut short after a young woman's murder leaves a Reedfield family to pick up the pieces.
We'll learn more coming up. First, another check of that weather forecast. Partly cloudy with high temperatures of around 22 degrees today. It will be partly cloudy tonight with lows dropping down to around 3. Tomorrow, clouds will increase once again with highs near 38 degrees. We'll be right back.
Looking for reliable tree care? Cousins Tree Service offers tree removals, pruning, maintenance, and more. Staffed with a licensed and insured arborist, we prioritize safety and customer satisfaction. Contact the team at Cousins Tree Service for professional tree solutions. AMHG Works LLC, American-made home goods, located at the Rennie's Plaza in Bangor. Come check us out. We're open 7 days a week, featuring artisans, crafters, and manufacturers from across the United States, where everything is meticulously designed with care and pride. We also have a wide selection of pet accessories and treats. Let us be your new favorite store. We look forward to seeing you.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Looking for reliable tree care? Cousins Tree Service offers tree removals, pruning, maintenance, and more. Staffed with a licensed and insured arborist, we prioritize safety and customer satisfaction. Contact the team at Cousins Tree Service for professional tree solutions.
Starting May 1st, the Bureau of Motor Vehicles will begin issuing the new Pine Tree license plate. If you have a Chickadee plate, it will be replaced when you renew after May 1st at no additional charge. If you have a Chickadee plate number you want to keep, you can reserve it today online by searching Reserve My Plate and paying a one-time $25 fee. With your help, we can provide prompt and quality service to all Mainers. Brought to you by this station, the Maine Association of Broadcasters, and the Secretary of State.
A family is turning to the public for help as they try and navigate through the sudden loss of one of their own. Doug Banks has the story.
Since February 19th, a family has been trying to come to terms with an unimaginable loss. Margot Nguyen was only 32 when authorities say she was found dead outside her in-laws' home in Reedfield. Her husband of only 5 months is currently in custody and charged with her murder. Now, Nguyen's family is searching to figure out where everything went wrong in a seemingly happy marriage.
I felt like she was like my little sister.
Margot Nguyen was a yoga instructor, a clothing designer, spoke multiple languages, and was an avid traveler, a passion her and her cousin, Roger Risley, shared. But for everything she accomplished, he says she was an even better person.
She was love. She was an inspiration. She was super talented. She was like that one friend that's best friends with everybody. She's going to be the girl that's going to be in everybody's wedding.
Nguyen was from France. Risley and their grandparents live in Houston, but an opportunity to at least be in the same country arose when Nguyen and her newlywed husband moved to Belfast to be closer to his family. Samuel Whitmore is an MIT graduate. Risley says he only knew of him, but the two never met.
Definitely a cool feeling knowing she's closer by, like another chapter in her life.
However, on February 19th, life tragically changed. Authorities say Nguyen was found dead outside Whitmore's parents' home in Reedfield, with his mother inside critically injured. Whitmore was arrested and charged with her murder. 2 days later, he was scheduled to make his initial appearance in court, but it's since been delayed due to what lawyers called a competency issue. According to Risley, there were never any warning signs that this could have ever happened.
One thing I know about Sam is he is a killer. He killed somebody. He killed my cousin, and he needs to face the consequences of that.
Although Nguyen is gone, Risley believes the energy she carried isn't something that disappears.
It's the weirdest thing. Like, it feels like reality made a mistake. I feel like I'm losing myself. There was so much life in her. We'll find each other again one day and we'll have more adventures. And I'm looking forward to that.
Risley says Nguyen would be laid to rest next to her father in St. Malo, France. A link to the GoFundMe Risley created to help with funeral expenses can be found on this story on our website, foxbangor.com. In studio, Doug Banks, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
In other news this morning, there's more information concerning a pickup truck that drove off a dock in Southwest Harbor last week. Dysart's Marina was damaged after a driver crashed through a fence and ended up in the water, but fortunately everyone is all right. Our Callie Warren has more.
Attention Southwest Fire personnel, a report of a vehicle in the water. Address came in as 11 Apple Lane.
At around 3:43 p.m. on Thursday, first responders were called to the Dysart's Marina in Southwest Harbor. The local fire department says 22-year-old Wyatt Lawson plunged 20 feet after losing control of his Dodge Ram truck and driving off the dock. Chief Tom Chisholm says Lawson reported that his brakes failed.
He reported that his brakes had failed. Pretty steep incline coming down from Main Street down the Apple Lane into that area. And then with the slippy subsurface, I think it definitely contributed to him not being able to find an alternative way.
Lawson's luck was running out as he went over the side at low tide. The vehicle landed upside down in mud and water, with part of the truck on a dock. The chief says Lawson suffered minor injuries.
We were very surprised that he was able to self-extricate. It was low tide, or just after low tide of the day. He was able to get a door open before it gets kind of locked into the mud.
The vehicle was removed just a couple of hours after the incident.
We were able to use a local barge with a crane right in town.
Ethan Harkins is the assistant manager of the marina.
This sort of thing has never happened at this dock before.
And a friend of Lawson's.
You know, he got out unscathed, and I mean, it's really just a blessing. If a couple different variables went wrong, you know, it could have gone a whole different way.
He says the damage to the dock isn't severe.
Luckily, a lot of it came off in one piece, so we're able to reuse quite a bit of it, so it shouldn't be too bad for us.
In Southwest Harbor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Boy, you talk about a close call. Thank goodness he's okay.
Really scary. You know, they sell those things that you can keep in your car just to break your window in case anything like that happens.
Yeah, I just bought a couple of those actually for my daughters. You know, it's a good thing to have.
Things like these make me think about buying one myself.
Yeah.
All right, the time now is 8:17. After the break, evacuation orders have been sent out across the Carolinas as multiple wildfires force a state of emergency.
The latest on that situation, plus your full 5-day weather forecast, coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only candlepin bowling alley centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
With the Planet Fitness Black Card, you can bring a friend anytime and get your first month free when you join today.
I'm bringing my other half.
I'm bringing the pep talk. Come on!
I'm recovering while I'm out of town.
I'm training while she's in town.
I'm clearing my head.
And I'm clearing 300.
So, you in? Join the club today. Get your first month free and all the perks with the PF Black Card for just $1 down. $24.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends March 13th.
Experience unparalleled comfort and restful sleep with the Z-Cliner by FlexSteel, a scientifically proven bed alternative designed with your sleep in mind. Built with FlexSteel's patented blue steel spring for exceptional comfort and support. Featuring high-performance fabric and pressure point relief zones, the Z-Cliner is a perfect family chair by day and the best place for restful sleep by night.
I just want to know if I have a crush.
Love is a funny thing.
He held my hand! Can I ask you a question about girls?
I find them very confusing.
Getting baptized just to kiss a girl? What were you thinking?
I'm having an emotion I'm unfamiliar with. I'm both threatened and delighted by your brain. can't help it. She makes me crazy.
That's where it starts.
Weekdays at 4 on Fox 22.
Now to the emergency in the Carolinas. Evacuations ordered with nearly 200 wildfires breaking out.
But overnight, some encouraging news. ABC's Andrew Dimbert explains.
This morning, a wildfire emergency in the southeast. Firefighters battling at least 175 wildfires across South and North Carolina, prompting evacuation orders in both states.
Oh, you could smell the smoke all the way in Columbus.
One of the biggest fires threatening communities near Myrtle Beach. South Carolina National Guard deploying 2 Black Hawk helicopters to help fight the flames. After doubling in size over the weekend, the fire near Myrtle Beach was 30% contained overnight, allowing some residents to return.
This whole area was on fire.
Whole area, yes. Wow. And then it came up to the row of trees here, and that's when I abandoned my hose.
Dry and windy conditions are fueling the fast-moving wildfires, as much of the southeast is in moderate drought.
So that wind is what started it, and start one fire and just kept going and going and going, just catching everywhere, like all the woods behind us.
And how close did you see those flames? How
right
close
here, right there, right there. See right there?
Officials in the fire zone warn the dry conditions will remain today before much-needed rain tomorrow and Wednesday. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
Boy, scary situation there. We've seen so much of it this season, too.
It's been so dry.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, the time now is 8:21.
Let's get a full look at our weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and at our newest location, 485 Main Street in Orono. We have the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. Here's what we got this morning. Cold weather advisories will be expiring. It's been cold across the northern parts of the state this morning. Freezing spray advisories along the coast will be expiring at around 10 a.m. Wave heights a little bit active, but not too bad at around 2 to 4 feet according to the buoys. Farther out towards sea, we are at around 7 feet this morning. Anywhere you see those lighter blues indicating some active surf. But this is a nice picture this morning. Hardly any cloud cover, and we will be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward later on today. Zooming things out again, the eastern coastline rather quiet as we start things off. There's a little bit of rain across the southern parts of the United States, and that's about it. We have some activity moving on shore in the western parts of the U.S. at this moment in time. Futurecast for us today, we will be under a partly cloudy sky. Later on tonight, we will be partly cloudy as well. And then throughout the day, as we head towards a Tuesday, clouds start to move in ahead of our next system, which looks to be a multi-day event that will be passing through. So let's break this down. So again, Tuesday, we will have increasing clouds taking place. And then by Tuesday night, some rain and snow opportunities will be passing through. We'll get that through. And then by Wednesday morning, a little bit of a wintry mix cannot be ruled out for some parts of the state. Warmer air will be moving in. So throughout Wednesday and even into most of Thursday, rain will be expected. Here we are Thursday morning. Some decent rainfall will be taking place along with some gusty winds. And then by early Friday morning, still some rain left over, but colder air will be moving in. So some of that throughout Friday morning will be switching over to some snow, and gusty winds will be expected. Of course, we'll keep an eye on this system. Lower 20s today under a partly cloudy sky. Northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, 3 degrees under a partly cloudy sky with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, upper 30s, increasing clouds, breezy out there. Southwest wind gusting up to about 15 miles per hour at times. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by SR1 Companies. A wintry mix switching over to rain on Wednesday, which is Ash Wednesday, with highs in the mid-40s. Upper 40s Thursday with rain moving in, and some snow showers on Friday with highs in the low 30s.
At Ellsworth IV Infusion and Wellness, we are here to help you look and feel your best, inside and out. Jumpstart your health journey with medical weight loss and rejuvenate your wellness with nutritional IV infusions. Renew your skin with facials or relax with soothing massage therapy.
R&K Variety is more than just a convenience store, with delicious homemade food made fresh daily.
We offer hearty meals that don't break the bank. Whether it be our delicious chicken pot pie, one of our many savory soups, or a pizza, you can't go wrong at R&K Variety. Looking for a drink after a long workday? R&K Variety is an agency liquor store with an impressive selection. R&K Variety, more than just a convenience store. We're your neighbor, chef, barista, and friend. Stop by today.
Rowell's Garage has been serving customers in the greater Dover-Foxcroft region since 1946. Our goal is not just selling you a vehicle, but also giving you quality service to maintain your vehicle at peak performance. Browse our inventory online or in person. Whether it's a car, truck, or SUV, we can put you in the vehicle that is right for you. Sales, service, and parts. Rowell's Garage. Doing business the right way every day.
Andy, are you giving it to her?
No, I'm
oh,
thinking.
Okay, you're looking. Okay.
Meredith, please. Now I have to start again.
25 words or less.
What am I? Chopped
liver?
With the game on the line.
Where's everybody going now?
Thinking outside the box really pays off.
We want another $10,000!
Okay, baby! Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
At Ellsworth IV Infusion and Wellness, we are here to help you look and feel your best, inside and out. Jumpstart your health journey with medical weight loss and rejuvenate your wellness with nutritional IV infusions. Renew your skin with facials or relax with soothing massage therapy.
This morning, fallout continues over President Zelensky's meeting with President Trump in the Oval Office on Friday. Ukraine's president meeting with European leaders in London over the weekend. ABC's Nicole D'Antonio is in Washington with the details.
This morning, world leaders standing behind Ukraine and promising to do more to help the nation. European leaders meeting with Ukrainian President Zelensky over the weekend for a high-stakes emergency summit on Ukraine.
Can you patch things up with Donald Trump?
The U.S. notably absent following Zelensky's fiery Oval Office meeting with President Trump and Vice President Vance on Friday.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
The British Prime Minister saying Europe must do the heavy lifting when it comes to securing peace in Ukraine and providing military aid, but also saying Europe needs U.S. support to prevent Russia from attacking Ukraine again.
The UK is prepared to back this with boots on the ground and planes in the air. Together with others, Europe must do the heavy lifting. But to support peace in our continent and to succeed, this effort must have strong US backing.
It was all smiles and handshakes when Zelensky met with King Charles. However, in Washington, reaction was mixed, mostly along party lines.
Well, something has to change. Either he needs to come to his senses and come back to the table in gratitude, or someone else needs to lead the country to do that.
The back half of that meeting ended up just being the Kremlin literally driving the message of the White House. It is a sad day in America when we are getting closer and closer to Russia, a brutal dictatorship, and we are getting further and further away from democratic allies.
Meanwhile, a top spokesperson for the Kremlin praised the Trump administration's foreign policy for being largely aligned with Russia's vision. Nicole D'Antonio, ABC News, Washington.
A bird striking the engine of a FedEx plane, causing the aircraft to catch fire midair. The FedEx cargo plane was forced to make an emergency landing at Newark Airport on Saturday morning. The strike caused one of the engines of the Boeing 767-300 twin-jet aircraft to catch on fire. There were no reported injuries. Air traffic was briefly paused, but the operations have since resumed.
Israel cuts off all humanitarian aid being sent to the Gaza Strip on Sunday. The move comes a day after the end of Phase 1 of the ceasefire and as negotiations for Phase 2 are ongoing. Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are reeling from the decision. One man says people are stocking up on food supplies out of fear the war will resume. He also says the price of food and necessities have doubled in response to Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's decision. Netanyahu warns of additional consequences if Hamas does not accept the proposal to extend the ceasefire. And coming up on the second half of the newscast, a semi-annual pop-up sale of used goods is getting quite popular. We'll check out the scene from this weekend's Lost and Found Market.
Along with that full weather forecast coming up on Good Morning Maine.
Don't get cold feet this winter. Stay warm and dry with high-performance footwear from Comfort Shoes and More. With an extensive selection of winter boots rated from 0 to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit, you'll find comfort in knowing your feet will be warm in any weather. Discover the latest in functional and fashionable footwear with grippers built right into the sole. With boots in stock up to 6E and size 17 for men and women. Take the drive to Newport for a sit and fit to find your perfect fit. You and your feet will be glad you did.
Hank's Husqvarna is your trusted full-line Husqvarna dealer, offering you everything you need for your outdoor projects. From high-performance lawn tractors and zero-turn mowers to chainsaws, trimmers, battery-powered and powerful snow blowers, we have just what you need. Every piece of equipment is fully set up, serviced, and ready for use by our certified Husqvarna technician. And all sales are backed by our in-house Husqvarna warranty. For parts, service, or new equipment sales, make your way to Hank's Husqvarna in Carmel or Newport.
You're watching Fox 22, Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, March 3rd, 2025. It's also National Procrastination Week.
This holiday was born out of the idea that we should have 1 week to enjoy the things that we've put off for a long time. Of course, procrastination is the act of putting off a job until a later date, and it usually is painted negatively. But this week, we're encouraged to postpone some of those important tasks and focus more on our mental well-being and stress-free exercise, like going for a hike.
I'm guilty of procrastinating a lot, but this week I don't have to worry about it. I have a pass. You know?
I know. I am prone to procrastination as well. I'm also prone to overdoing it and trying to get all the things done on my to-do list. And we're still in winter. We're not in spring yet. So I am totally going to use this excuse to hibernate a little bit more this week.
No problem there.
I could use the rest.
Yeah, hibernate, go do something nice for yourself.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
All right, time for history. On this day in history, back in 1879, Congress established the U.S. Geological Survey, an organization that played a pivotal role in the exploration and development of the West. They did a lot of mapping and that sort of thing.
You still hear them referenced all the time now.
And they're still doing that kind of thing to this day.
Yeah.
In 1923, Time magazine published its very first issue. It was published weekly up until 2020, when it began publishing every other week. In 1931, on this date, the Star-Spangled Banner became the official United States national anthem. And in 1934, notorious killer John Dillinger used a wooden pistol to break out of prison. Yeah, you can see a picture of that pistol online, too. It's kind of interesting. It's just a little hunk of wood that they carved, and they used something to make it black, and it was enough to get them out of jail.
The shop class to breaking out of jail pipeline.
Right.
Being a really good artist to being a really good criminal pipeline. I'm just kidding. In 1972, at the young age of 13, country singer Tanya Tucker signed her first record deal with Columbia Records. She recorded her first single, Delta Dawn, 2 weeks later. In 1986, the President's Commission on Organized Crime ended a 32-month-long investigation, which resulted in a call for drug tests for most working Americans, including all federal employees. And in 1991, Los Angeles police officers were caught beating Rodney King following a chase, touching off a nationwide debate on police brutality. The officers were later acquitted, touching off days of riots and arson that left more than 60 people dead. And in 2005, billionaire Steve Fawcett completed the first around-the-world airplane solo without making a single stop.
All right, for birthdays today, they include actress Bryce Dallas Howard, who is 44 years old today. Country singer Luke Combs turns 35, and rocker John Bon Jovi is 63 years old today. So happy birthday to them, and happy birthday to you too, if you're also celebrating a birthday.
Yeah. All right, and today's pretty chilly, but the good news is it'll get warmer as the week goes on.
Gradually, but it's on the way.
Yep. Here's Devin Biggs with the forecast.
And thank you very much, Craig and Emma. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and at our newest location, 485 Main Street in Orono. We have the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. Here we go this morning. Some areas have seen cold temperatures. It's fallen below zero pretty decently further off towards the north, but across our area, still above zero at the moment. Most low temperatures have fallen into the single digits. But so far this morning, we have some advisories up. Freezing spray advisories will drop at around 10 a.m. this morning. Also, some cold weather advisories kind of stating the obvious. It's been rather cold in the northern parts of the state this morning, and those will be expiring throughout the morning period. Meanwhile, rather quiet outside, maybe a few passing clouds, and that's about it, which is the reason why temperatures have fallen this morning. And for now, the eastern coast is rather quiet, but we will be watching for more active weather that will be moving in later on this week. But for today, we'll be under a partly cloudy sky. We'll have increasing clouds later on tonight, and especially into your Tuesday as we watch for our next system that will be moving in. Your hourly forecast for the rest of the morning and afternoon periods showing a partly cloudy sky with temperatures warming into the 20s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Emma?
Looks pretty nice. Thank you, Devin. Well, the largest vintage pop-up market in Maine set up shop in Herman on Sunday, drawing hundreds of people. The Lost and Found Market is a traveling market with a focus on sustainability and self-expression.
Yesterday, 40-plus vendors showcased their variety of vintage and reusable apparel at the Morgan Hill Event Center in Herman.
I think that it's bringing a lot of like-minded vendors that unfortunately usually have to be in isolation. A lot of people sell online or just own their own shop. So to have us all come together is really beautiful. So I love the community aspect.
Being able to come to things like this that you know are you're helping people and you're supporting a reuse culture is really important for sustainability and for environmental responsible behaviors.
More than 500 people attended the one-day event. Organizers say they're considering expanding to a larger venue the next time the market travels to the greater Bangor area, as the large turnout did create traffic delays along Hammond Street. To learn more about where you can find the next pop-up event, you can visit the Lost and Found Market on Facebook or Instagram.
What a great idea.
Yeah, they've only been doing this for a few years, so you could see how they would be unprepared if they had a larger than imagined crowd.
Yeah, traffic was all backed up down Outer Hammond Street. Maybe they can find I don't know, go around the universities or something like that.
Right.
Do it in the gym or whatever. But
I know. It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
All right after the break, Tyler Cruz has our sports update.
Don't go away.
I can't believe it.
Did you hear who won?
Our sister works with a guy.
I heard they're from Brunswick.
Tri-State Megabucks is our local game, where jackpots start at $1 million. Drawings are on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Even if you don't win, you might know somebody who did, because locals win here.
My boyfriend's father's cousin said they live in his neighborhood.
Roto-Rooter has served the greater Bangor area and beyond for 35 years, offering plumbing, hydrojetting, snaking, descaling, video inspection, and grease interceptor cleaning services. For all your residential and commercial clogs, call Roto-Rooter today, 990-1234.
And away go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
Fires, floods, burst pipes. Disasters happen, but the mess they leave behind doesn't have to last. For 40 years, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration has been there to help Mainers get back to the closest to normal as they can. When your property is at its worst, Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration is at their best, and they have been for 4 decades. Put your trust in the Bouchard team. Bouchard Cleaning and Restoration. You keep the memories, we'll handle the rest.
AMHG Works LLC, American-made home goods, located at the Rennie's Plaza in Bangor. Come check us out. We're open 7 days a week, featuring artisans, crafters, and manufacturers from across the United States, where everything is meticulously designed with care and pride. We also have a wide selection of pet accessories and treats. Let us be your new favorite store. We look forward to seeing you.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
Getting dangerous.
Welcome to the North Shore.
Rescue High Surf, all new tonight on Fox.
And
The time is here. Welcome back in, everyone. Thank you for staying with us. Tourney 2025 coming to a close this weekend. I'm Tyler Cruz. This is Fast Break Tourney 25, coverage presented by Coastal Auto Parts and Dorsey Furniture. Time for some highlights from Gold Ball Saturday. Ton of trophies to be handed out between Portland and Bangor this weekend. Without further ado, we had Class D at the Cross Center this year, and that is where we go. Let's get it started with Class D girls. Valley looking for their program's first ever Gold Ball, taking on Central Aroostook. First half, Valley in the lead, and they are running. Liana Hartwell, long pass down to Kirsten Bigelow. She fires to Delia Hill for the bucket. Here come those Panthers now. Maggie Mahan is going to get it inside from Stevie Pierce. She floats it up and banks it home. Lily Burt has it on the wing now for the Panthers. Thinks about it, fires, and the bank is still open for the Panthers. Burt knocks down the three. Close game after one before the half. Bigelow gets it from three, and Bigelow sticks it from three. Here come the Cavs again on the break. Bigelow to Hartwell, and she is going to get it to go and one, and she is fired up. More of the same in the second. Hartwell to Madeline Hill. She pulls, and she nails the three-pointer. Hill now firing it down court. That's going to get to Bigelow, and she connects, and the Valley Cavaliers run away with it. They win their first ever girls Gold Ball. The final score is 47-28.
It means a lot to come back here and win it this time. We obviously had a lot of motivation since losing to Southern Aroostook, and then we didn't want to feel that way again, so we came back and better than ever.
Time for the Class D boys now. Will the Skank Wolverines continue their special season, or do the St. Dom's Saints take the Gold Ball back down south? First quarter is where we start. Skank on the break. Nice defense from the Saints, but Cameron Atkinson follows it up for two. Wolverines up after one. In the second, Saints come out on fire. Taylor Varney pulls a triple, and he knocks it down. Next possession, Varney finds John Brock, and Brock does the same thing. Buries a three ball from the wing. Wolverines now, Braden Osborne. Look at this pass down court to Sam Jacobs. He finishes the reverse layup and one. Great play all around. Skank up at the half. Third quarter, all Saints. Varney gets inside, gets the tough layup to fall. 15-2 third quarter for St. Dom's, but the Wolverines had an answer. Down 4 in the fourth, they pick off the inbounds pass. Jacobs finds Owen Wyman, who makes it a 2-point game. 8 seconds left now, and the Saints defense comes through. They poke it free, and Jonathan Tangela-Messieu gets the steal. He'd hit 1 of 2 from the line. Last chance for Skank, rims out, and St. Dom's wins the Class D Gold Ball. 34-31 is the final.
I think we came in with a lot of confidence, a lot of energy in the third quarter, and we shut them down defensively, and I don't know, shots just started falling, and we were in a great spot after that. It feels great. It really does feel great, yeah.
All right, that wraps up the first session of the day at the Cross Center. Congratulations to those champs. Simultaneously, though, the Class B Gold Ball games taking over the Cross Arena in Portland on Saturday. Both Caribou teams in action. We'll start with the girls. The Caribou Vikings looking for the Class B Girls Gold Ball, taking on the Tigers out of Biddeford. We'll skip way ahead here. Tigers trailing all game. Under a minute to go in regulation. Jordan Crump, a tremendous drive and basket. Biddeford ties it at 40. We're going to overtime. In the overtime, Tigers get their first lead of the game on this Natalia Silva 3-ball. Biddeford up 2. Back come the Vikings. Madeline Dupre with a tremendous drive to the basket. We are tied at 43. Biddeford up 3 with 1.5 seconds to go. Dupre is at the line, and she knocks in both free throws, 2 of her 31 points. Tigers still up by 1. Off the inbounds pass, Quinn Corrigan comes up with the steal. She's fouled and sent to the line. The freshman at the free throw line. Caribou Vikings fans going crazy. She hits the game-tying free throw at 48, and the second one would give the Vikings a 49-48 lead with barely any time left. And the Vikings hang on for their first Class B state championship in school history, defeating the Tigers in overtime, 49-48.
It's a dream come true. I have no clue how else to explain it. My 2 older brothers came here 6 years ago in 2019, and they won the first state championship in 50 years. And just being back here and being able to do it as a team was just it was just crazy. Such a great feeling.
Congratulations to them. York and Caribou squaring off for the boys Class B state championship. We'll pick this one up late in the first quarter. Wildcats on the run. Some great passing here as Lucas Ketchum lays it in, and the Cats tie it at 10. Second quarter, and the Vikings get hot. Owen Corrigan dials up a three, and Owen Corrigan splashes home that three. Caribou up by 2. Then off the fast break, it's going to be Corrigan for 2 more. Great pass here to set him up. Caribou up 4 at the half. Third quarter, another long touchdown pass. This one from Tristan Robbins to Corrigan. Vikings up 11. York trying to hang in there. Ryan Cummins has it. Swings it down low for 2, but the Vikings, they were too tough on Saturday. Landon Belanger gets it in the corner for 3, and he splashes it home. Caribou wins Class B 65-44 over York.
Oh, wait, right. The first half was pretty close. The second half, we just started trusting each other more and getting out more on the break. And our team defense was amazing the second half. That led to all of our offense.
Congratulations to them. Portland was Caribou South on Saturday. Let's get back up to Bangor now. Last 2 games to go at the Cross Center come from Class C. The Penobscot Valley girls looking to cap off a perfect season. Halldale standing in the way. We'll get right to that action. Bulldogs and Howlers, both the top teams in their region, squaring off for the gold ball. First quarter we go. Brooklyn Raymond, look at that pass. The full court dime to Riley Moulton, who lays it up and in, gives Penobscot Valley an early 4-0 lead. Halldale on the attack. Now Tori Tibbetts fights through contact and lays it in for 2. Shortly after, Moulton swipes it, takes it the other way, and she lays it up and in to extend the Howlers' lead to double digits. Second quarter now, Ellie Austin finds Brooklyn Raymond, who buries the triple. Penobscot Valley now leads 21-4. Raymond again, she sinks another 3. She had 21 points on Saturday. Howlers led 32-11 at the break. Second half now, Marie Benoit feeds Jade Graham with a bounce pass as Halldale starts to climb back in it. Shortly after, Lila Cummings throws it ahead to Moulton, who lays it in to extend that Howler lead. Here's Cummings playing quarterback again now. She feeds Ellie Austin, who adds to the lead, and Penobscot Valley puts the finishing touches on a perfect season with a gold ball. A 57-37 win. They bring home the first ever girls state championship back to Howland.
I could barely fall asleep last night. My pregame nap, I don't even know if I slept. I was just laying there, and it's just like awesome. All the energy building up. I'm glad I didn't waste my adrenaline, but it feels so good.
It's amazing, honestly. You know, we've been through so much together, so being able to bring this home to them, you know, and celebrate with them is just a great way to end it.
Honestly, I'm kind of speechless. It's so emotional. The amount of work that we've put in practices and games, scrimmages, all of the above. We've prepared all season for this moment, and to finally be here and to be holding the gold ball, it just feels amazing.
Finally, the last game of the Maine High School basketball tournament, Mount Abram Roadrunners trying to take down unbeaten Mattanock Academy. Second quarter, Bryce Wilcox comes off the screen and buries the 3. Roadrunners up 17-4. Shortly after, Brennan Mitchell on the glass. He puts it back up through contact for the and 1. Runners up 21. Lynx trying to get back in it. Cooper McCarthy stops on the dime, buries the mid-range jumper. Second half, here he is again. He jump stops and floats it in. Lynx come alive in the third, but the Roadrunners would, in fact, run away with it. Killian Pillsbury floats it up and in, and Mount Abram goes on to win the Class C state championship 74-48. That is all the time we have for sports. We will be right back after the break.
The best bulls in the world have come to town. For bulls and their riders, those 8 seconds go by in a heartbeat. 8 seconds to become a champion, or nothing. This is America, and this is PBR.
It's bowl time, Banger. Kubota PBR Banger bucks into Cross Insurance Center March 7th through the 9th. Get your tickets now at pbr.com/tickets or Ticketmaster.
The Furniture Gallery is celebrating President's Day. Camp and Cottage Queen mattresses starting at just $198. Revolutionize your space with a cozy recliner. 3 color choices for only $298. Declare your independence from outdated furniture with a sofa chaise for $598 or a sofa and love seat set just $798. Get comfortable with the Scott Living King mattress, yours for the price of a queen. And don't miss these clearance deals up to 70% off. Hurry into the Furniture Gallery before these monumental deals are history. The Furniture Gallery.
Come bowl a few games here at Bangor Brewer Bowling Lanes. We're one of the only candlepin bowling alleys
centers in Maine, conveniently located in the heart of Brewer. You always have the opportunity to simply bowl for fun. However, you can also join a league. We have youth leagues, adult and senior leagues. Now don't forget, we also host birthday parties for under $100, and gift certificates are also available. Give us a call right away at 989-3798 to make reservations for your birthday party today.
Bring your new kitchen to life with help from the Kitchen, Bath, and Flooring Division by Hammond Lumber Company. Bring in your ideas or get inspired by Hammond's extensive showroom displays. Your Hammond sales rep will help you create a materials list and cost estimate, and Hammond's designers will help you visualize your space before the work begins. And Hammond delivers from 22 locations across Maine and New Hampshire. Your new kitchen begins when you bring your vision to Hammond Lumber Company, your building project partner.
Biggest night and the history made at the 97th Annual Academy Awards.
From the laughs to the tributes, performances and speeches, there was really something for everyone. ABC's Zoreen Shah has more.
And the Oscar goes to
Anora.
It was a big night for a small movie.
We made this movie for $6 million. You're trying to make independent films. Please keep doing it. We need more.
Anora, the Cinderella story about a sex worker, which cost only $6 million to make, took home the Oscar for Best Picture. The film winning 5 awards, including Best Director and Best Original Screenplay.
This is very surreal.
The film's star, 25-year-old Mikey Madison, beating out Demi Moore for Best Actress. The Brutalist winning 3 Oscars, including Best Actor Adrian Brody, taking home the 2nd Oscar of his career.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Wicked stars Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo paying tribute to Los Angeles just weeks after those devastating wildfires. The two performing songs from The Wizard of Oz and The Wiz before teaming up for the showstopper from Wicked. Wicked, a big winner at the box office, but taking home only 2 awards, including a historic win for costume designer Paul Tazwell.
I'm the first black man to receive a costume design award.
Zoe Saldana also making history for her big win for Best Supporting Actress.
I am the first American of Dominican origin to accept an Academy Award.
Morgan Freeman took the stage to introduce the In Memoriam segment with a tribute to his friend, the late Gene Hackman.
He won the hearts of film lovers all over the world. Rest in peace, my friend.
The ceremony also honoring the men and women who battled the recent LA wildfires. The firefighters getting a standing ovation.
Thank you so much.
And Anora set a record when it won Best Picture for the lowest box office numbers. It only made $41 million. Compare that to Wicked. It made $731 million. And Anora's director, Sean Baker, also won 4 Oscars for 1 movie, setting a record there too. Zoreen Shah, ABC News, Hollywood.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now let's get one final look at that forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Emma, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by SR1 Companies. Visit SR1 in Herman, Turner, Manchester, and at our newest location, 485 Main Street in Orono. We have the best prices on trailers, campers, tractors, heavy equipment, and more. SR1 Companies, where New England's largest selection meets unbeatable prices. Here's what we got this morning. Cold weather advisories will be expiring. It's been cold across the northern parts of the state this morning. Freezing spray advisories along the coast will be expiring at around 10 a.m. Wave heights a little bit active, but not too bad at around 2 to 4 feet according to the buoys. Farther out towards sea, we are at around 7 feet this morning. Anywhere you see those lighter blues indicating some active surf. But this is a nice picture this morning. Hardly any cloud cover, and we will be under a partly cloudy sky moving forward later on today. Zooming things out again, the eastern coastline rather quiet as we start things off. There's a little bit of rain rain across the southern parts of the United States, and that's about it. We have some activity moving onshore in the western parts of the U.S. at this moment in time. Futurecast for us today, we will be under a partly cloudy sky. Later on tonight, we will be partly cloudy as well. And then throughout the day, as we head towards a Tuesday, clouds start to move in ahead of our next system, which looks to be a multi-day event that will be passing through. So let's break this down. So again, Tuesday, we will have increasing clouds taking place. And then by Tuesday night, some rain and snow opportunities will be passing through. We'll get that through. And then by Wednesday morning, a little bit of a wintry mix cannot be ruled out for some parts of the state. Warmer air will be moving in. So throughout Wednesday and even into most of Thursday, rain will be expected. Here we are Thursday morning. Some decent rainfall will be taking place along with some gusty winds. And then by early Friday morning, still some rain left over, but colder air will be moving in. So some of that throughout Friday morning will be switching over to some snow, and gusty winds will be expected. Of course, we'll keep an eye on this system. Lower 20s today under a partly cloudy sky, northwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Later on tonight, 3 degrees under a partly cloudy sky with the wind overall looking nice and calm. Tomorrow, upper 30s, increasing clouds, breezy out there. Southwest wind gusting up to about 15 miles per hour at times. Let's check out your extended forecast brought to you by SR1 Companies. A wintry mix switching over to rain on Wednesday, which is Ash Wednesday, with highs in the mid-40s. Upper 40s Thursday with rain moving in, and some snow showers on Friday with highs in the low 30s.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
We've got a 100-year-old company here, and it's because of the service, the quality, and the experience. It gets done right.
I think we've been doing it for so long. The only thing that we do, that when we walk into a room, we automatically know how to treat that window. We can take any product that the customer's looking for and make it work in just about any situation that they present us with. So
There's no reason to be overwhelmed. No. We can help you through it.
We're not going anywhere. We've been around for 100 years.
Dragon Slayer Arcade now has 2 locations inside the Bangor Mall. Dragon Slayer has birthday party packages starting at just $50, which provides you with a designated area for you and your friends, which includes pizza and drinks. Dragon Slayer is all about birthday parties and would love for you to spend your next birthday with us. Give Dragon Slayer a call today to schedule your next birthday party. 860-462-1843.
Come stop by Triple S Tack Shop, 315 Hamden Road, Carmel, for quality clothing and equestrian gear.
Blazing Trails, located in Lincoln, is your #1 trusted caregiver storefront. From personalized consultations to the highest quality product, Blazing Trails provides outstanding patient services to Eastern and Central Maine. Discover how we're blazing the trails to quality holistic medicine.
Snowfall and a longer race isn't turning the hearts of these competitors to mush in Alaska.
Anchorage is once again sending dogs off in one of the greatest endurance and team races at the 53rd Iditarod sled dog race. Very little snow has forced a change in the ceremonial start to under 2 miles through Anchorage's streets instead of 11 miles. The beginning of the race will be moved to Fairbanks for the 4th time this century. 33 mushers are in the race, including the daughter of a 1983 champion who died from cancer last year, competing in his honor. Because of less snow this year, mushers must run an extra 128 extra miles for a total journey of 1,128 miles. The competitors will finish the race in the old gold rush town of Nome on the Bering Sea, about 10 days after the start. What a journey for them.
Yeah, I saw in our email this morning too, the Northern Maine Can-Am race finished up over the weekend, and that is actually a qualifier for the Iditarod. Yep. All right, so finally now, firefighters rescued an owl trapped in a fireplace in Thousand Oaks, California. The Ventura County Fire Department shared footage of the rescue on social media. Firefighters carefully and gently removed the owl from the home. Look at that, what a beautiful bird. Officials say no one was hurt.
Well, hang in there. You'll see it being released back in the wild. At first, I thought he was just stretching his wings when he came out because he was so cramped up, but I bet he was trying to make himself look big and scary among all those firemen out there. But certainly a day they will not forget.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So beautiful. Yeah. I love owls. All right. It does look like we're running out of time for today. If you missed anything, you can head to foxbangor.com.
We thank you so much for joining us and hope you have a wonderful day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he recently gave me a makeover. Well, same makeover, he threw a used Target gift card at me and mumbled something about lipstick and pigs. It's Carson Presley! And joining Carson are father and son, Kenny and Ken. Appearing here as a favor to her husband who just wanted some quiet time at home, it's Melissa Knowles. Joining her are returning champions, married couple, Karina and John. And now here's your host, Meredith Vieira.
Welcome to 25 Words or Less. Hello to everybody. Nice to see you all, guys.
Good to
How are
see
you
you.
doing?
Good to see you.
Fantastic. Good.
It's good to be seen.
It's good to be seen. Carson, you know, you're such a lovely human being, but you're
thank
also a huge fashion star. Did you always know you wanted to be in that line of business?
You know what? I think I did. I still have my first day of kindergarten photo, maybe in 1974, and I was wearing like a checkered navy blue leisure suit, like the jacket, sport coat, and the flared pants.